DuckTales Season 3, Episode 21. The Life and Crimes of Scrooge McDuck. You know, something interesting about the Magica. Okay, so if you think about it, her story, I mean, whether he meant to or not, he actually did, if anything, he's kind of the victim of his own success here. Like they were like, well, you made her say, well, guess what happened? You turned her into a villain, so you're responsible for what she's done. Well, basically, most of what she's done for the last bit has been attacking him. So
Yeah.
outside of,
And not only that, but him, she was a villain to begin with.
yeah,
So
she's actually become less villainous because she was
she's
terrorizing a town. Now she's just uselessly attacking Scrooge McDuck for the most
exactly
part. Other than what's her face?
her niece.
Yeah, her niece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, the only one that's really been a victim of her attacks has been Scrooge himself.
And,
So it kind of cancels itself out, and on top of that, she's no longer terrorizing a village. So
and you see, this is how moral stories should be written.
like
This is the type of story where it's like, this is the moral of the story. And it's not, it kind of is bashing you over the head with it, but in a non-invasive way.
Yeah.
Unlike some things we could list.
yeah, and then let's see. Well, okay, so we should probably go in order. I know because we didn't have. So there were three major witnesses.
Glomgold.
Yeah, Glomgold. I just had it.
Mrs. Mrs.
Oh, the yeah, the Beakley.
McBeagle.
McBeagle,
Ma
yeah,
Beagle.
Beakley, yeah, Beakley, Beagle. Yeah.
Mrs. Beakley is a guy.
Yeah, it's a different one, definitely different. Yeah, same show, completely different character.
One is a born criminal.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
love that.
the
I'm ashamed of you for getting caught.
yeah,
and I love that Louis recognized right away, like, hang on, let's keep watching.
yeah.
I recognize that. I recognize that expression. There's more to this story. Let's keep.
Yeah, no, she was already rotten by the time she got there. He just exposed them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the fact that he was willing to cheat for this thing tells you, he pretty much got what he got.
Yeah. I believe that's what you call comeuppance.
Yeah. You did that, you did that cheating thing. It's like, I've never lost. Yeah, because you got,
Yes.
got that assistance. But, and it's surprising that Scrooge was the first one to notice it. Like, nobody noticed those straps before.
Well, they were under his sleeve, apparently.
Yeah, but it's like if you're having a arm wrestling contest with somebody, like and you start off in the middle, you might notice those first. But
True.
Yeah, it's like,
especially once you get up and he gets up and then you see it coming out of his arm. Like, what now? What's this?
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember, but the way he messes with the guy in the box is by dropping some coins on it through the gap
Yeah,
in the thing.
in the
So it's like
bridge.
he's his assistant was all in the end his assistant is the one who betrayed him. If he didn't do anything, he wouldn't have been able to see him. As he'd have to expose him himself, but knocking a couple coins was all it took to get him to expose himself by
Yeah, but there's no honor among thieves.
well, I mean, yeah, just adding to the fact that not only did Scrooge not crack open the box, which would have been fine, it would have been perfectly moral. He didn't even do that. His own assistant betrayed him. So like,
yeah,
it's like, no, if he had stayed, he would have eventually popped the box and showed, hey, you cheated. But since he did it himself, he's like, hey.
he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, all you had to do was drop a couple coins that he had on the table anyway. But yeah. So that's how Scrooge acquires the deed.
How he did the deed.
And then Glomgold. It's I forget all his story, but it always ends up with him. It's like, no, you did that to yourself.
Well, it's a story of how he met his true loves.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now I remember he loved attention.
At that point, Glumgold should be thanking him.
Yeah, it's like, saved you, got the treasure, looking pretty good. You showed me up. Is that my fault, or is...
And you bastard.
And it's like, no. All of this is none of this is my fault. This is all you being evil. Like, and even if Scrooge had helped in the third bit with Magica, even if he had helped catch the bird, okay, even if he'd helped,
she couldn't have changed anything because she didn't know how to fix him.
Yeah.
She could have found like a spell book or something.
Well, and she still would have been menacing the town.
Yeah. And not only that, but like her brother still was clearly competent. Like he still had some sort of cognizance to him, even though he was a bird.
Yeah.
Ravens are really intelligent creatures.
Which makes me wonder, so do you think he got like turned into a normal raven or still like a magical raven?
Actually, if I remember correctly, in the original cartoon, she did have a pet raven.
Which is, that's a bit darker now.
Because I'm just kind of wondering if it's a normal raven, it would be dead from old age by now.
True. Well,
but if he still has like his, I'm guessing they're immortal to a point.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on a few things, but yeah, I don't know how she expected that to work out. Really, she was just blaming him for her own backfired spell.
It's her own incompetence.
Still, I'm going to kill you, basically, is what she was saying.
Yeah. And of course, his name being Poe, he would turn into a raven. I saw that
I
reference
wonder
there.
if his middle name was Alan.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Or if they turned the local murderer into an orangutan. That's a deep cut Edgar Allan Poe reference. I'm not even gonna try and explain right now.
Don't worry, you don't have to. I love Edgar Allan Poe.
I think
But
it was.
you know, a hilarious episode would be Magica asks Scrooge to pretend to be her boyfriend to meet her parents. Like, I know we're enemies, but my parents hate me.
Gee, I wonder why. Oh, shut up! You owe me.
It's like, okay. So I get, Glumgold wanting the gold, and I get the deed. I don't really get the coin now. Like, does it really have a use to her?
It depends. Have you ever seen Warehouse 13?
Yeah, I love that show.
So you know how everyday items could become artifacts based on the significance of the moment involved. So the fact that it's his number one dime could have imbued the symbolic energy of its value to him, you know?
So it's pretty much, haha, I have something of yours.
Well, that, and it could be kind of a artifact type thing that brings fortune. You know, a lucky charm, so to speak.
Admittedly, I thought when it was like summoned to the court thing, for his deeds, originally I thought it was going to be the vulture guy.
Ah.
No, he
They
probably has
wouldn't.
something else planned.
Yeah, I think the vulture guys are too competent
Yeah.
to waste their time on a harebrained magical scheme like that. Like, they would do something more boring but
And
more
they
competent.
They don't like to get their hands dirty.
Yeah. I mean, it still wouldn't get their hands dirty, but it would still it's dodgy and it may not work, and so it's like, let's just do something
It's so
more
inelegant.
conventional.
It's so inelegant.
It's impractical, and we don't know what's going to happen, and the percentages of this happening actually working are very low, and we just don't want to take that risk. If we're going to kill Scrooge McDuck or do whatever we're going to do to Scrooge McDuck, we're going to do it in a conventional way. Even if we fail, we took higher percentage chances.
Also, they kind of had a thing against all that magic and stuff. That's kind of the reason why they're doing that.
Yeah, is to try and
Like,
magic control, just lock that down
chaos?
so that you don't have weird stuff happening all the time.
Why would they use the very chaos they're trying to eliminate?
Yeah, they don't want. They didn't want the chaos. That's why they didn't like Scrooge in the first place. He goes around finding these artifacts, and essentially they don't want the series DuckTales to happen because there's too much chaotic magic that could end the world 16 different ways every weekday. It's like yeah, let's just not, and then we won't. Let's just not, and then we won't.
I don't think they would use magic to do that.
Yeah, they much prefer machines and things that are a little more practical. and
Elements.
practical, controllable, higher
And
percentage shots.
shiny.
Shiny.
Yeah, and it's great. The first two are just so obviously. It's like, no, clearly you did this to yourself. The justice statue is like, no, go over here.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell do you think? What kind of? I love that. I would like a dismissal from this bloody kangaroo court. Let the record show I'm not allowed within 500 feet of a kangaroo.
I like, part of me wants to know why, and another part
Part of me
doesn't.
Part of me is curious, but part of me is like, no, what?
He tried
No.
climbing into the pouch of a kangaroo once because he thought it would hop along with him inside, and it did not go well.
He thought it was it would replace his Mima or Gamimama.
Yeah, it did not go well. And that's why he's no longer allowed near kangaroos.
Sad thing is, I'd believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got this image of him trying to make an escape attempt, jumping into a kangaroo's pouch and, taking a riding crop or something out and slapping the kangaroo, and the kangaroo just beating the ever-loving snot out of him. Kicking him out of the pouch. No. And then he gets caught, and, like, all right, we're not sure animal abuse. We're gonna fine you this much, and we're going to ban you from being within 500 feet of a kangaroo ever again. This is a very weird case.
Yeah, it would be.
You get all of Scrooge fortune, but wasn't Scrooge also created by his enemies? Oh yeah, Scrooge. We refund it. Well, this was a complete waste of everyone's time. Congratulations. And wow, yeah, imagine though if okay, yeah, this whole karmic court sort of thing. And I think well, what's his face? I'm terrible with names this morning. The brat. Like he called on a bunch of stuff to summon this karmic court. Okay, and it was found against him. Like, what does it take to summon this karmic court? And could Scrooge just call it on any one of his enemies and just go, you know what? Here's a laundry list of everything they've done. Yeah.
Yeah, one would think that is a viable option.
Yeah, but I got a feeling Scrooge is like, I'd rather not bother with it.
Too much work.
He is not against hard work.
No, but it would be boring and
They're
not very profitable. None of them are,
They're not worth our time.
Yeah, they're not worth. The opportunity cost is not worth the effort.
He probably figures he doesn't have to do anything because in the end they're gonna screw it up for themselves.
Exactly.
Pretty much constantly, yes.
They're always screwing things up.
Yeah,
I want to see an episode where like a bunch of the bad guys are trying to like screw up Scrooge in some way, but the entire time he doesn't notice them at all. And they just keep on failing.
Pink Panther style, where it's like all those all the bad guys are constantly trying to kill him, and he's just like, oh look, a dame bends down to pick it up, but
Oh,
gunshot goes right over their head.
oh, I've got a great plot for that kind of episode. Okay, so Launchpad is very sick with a flu or something, so much that he's kind of delirious. Okay, but
He sees the plot, and Scrooge is just like, oh, it's just the mids talking.
no, 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 no,
And
no, no. The reason why he's sick is because he dropped off Scrooge's dry cleaning, but he didn't tell Scrooge which he can't tell Scrooge which dry cleaner he went to. He's too sick to go and look around and try and find it again. So Scrooge, needing this outfit for some business opportunity in like a few days, so it's not super pertinent, but it's something he needs to get done that day. He needs it for a flight tomorrow. It's not like super impending. But the whole plot is him going around to different dry cleaners trying to figure out where his stuff was, where his clothes are. and and the whole time at each opportunity, each different zone of like the city, like there's different parts of the city have different looks to them, and might be inhabited by the Beagle Boys are more active here. Beaks is more likely to attack over here. That sort of thing. And at each one, he tries to pick up his dry cleaning, but every time they're setting up traps. But every time he sidesteps it for some random reason, and that's the whole plot of the episode. And eventually, he does get his dry cleaning, but in a last sort of petty thing,
the stain is still there.
The villains throw mud on it or something. And then he has to get it dry cleaned again. So the most they could do is mildly inconvenience him.
Well, that's the most they can ever do.
Yeah. But yeah, it's sort of a whole big plot, and that's But yeah, that would be a funny
Plot or scheme?
It was an interesting retrospective, at least, I suppose. And we got a little bit more about the whole incident with magic that started this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cute little way of tying up those loose ends with all the bad guys in a kind of the B bad guys, because they're not really important this season, but all of the main baddies from earlier seasons in one fell swoop, while showing off their backstory and everything, kind of like a reverse flashback episode.
Yeah, well, the whole idea about this, the great thing about this episode is that it does allow them to basically, how did your rivalry with him get started? And they probably had this all written out, and they thought that, okay, if we have more seasons, we might be able to get into this. But since we know we're not going to have any more seasons after this, we've got it in our story Bible, we might as well use it. It's a cool backstory, but we don't have enough time to explore each backstory individually as an episode this season, while still carrying the plot we want to carry to sort of wrap at the end of the season. So we'll just shove it all in here in this episode, wrap it up in a court case, and poof.
Kind of like what they did with Warehouse 13. The end of Warehouse 13, they're like, oh, we only got 6 more episodes to do everything we ever wanted. Let's do a montage episode where it's memories that never actually happened in the show, but between episodes and stuff, little mini episodes where all the stuff we wanted to do are all done in one episode, so that we can just throw them in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody find it just a tad bit dark that some of Scrooge's gold was technically living beings?
Yeah. Was it though?
Well, because remember what he said. He said, "So what did you gave back some of that gold?" Yeah. So, well, at that point, most of the townspeople had been turned into gold.
Goats.
No, they goats.
Goats. Oh.
They
Yeah.
got turned into goats. And although I do find it kind of morbid, the fact that he placed them on a farm somewhere and sold their milk.
Okay, that's dark.
Imagine this evil mistress overlord turns you into a goat, and then you are milked for the rest of your life.
Hey, I mean, it's better than being turned into a turnip than eaten.
True.
Well,
Although, the main ones that got turned, the first one we saw was a dude, so pretty sure that's not goat milk.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is, okay, so at that point, so if all of the villagers have been turned into goats, okay, so assuming Scrooge doesn't know how to turn them back, he can't do anything about it. So what's the best thing he can do? Give them someplace comfortable to be. Well, while we're at it, goats need to be milked anyway, so we'll just put them on a farm so they can make a little money and pay for themselves, so that they can be kind of taken care of into perpetuity. So I mean, he was making the best of a bad situation out of all of it, because if they were just left alone, they might get eaten by predators or sold to some bad farm. But he's just trying to make the best of a bad situation if he didn't know how to change them back.
Yes, but still, those were male goats.
Well, some of them would have been, but
unless they were gelded in the process, although gelded goats technically don't have memories either. But I mean, gender swapped in.
Yeah, they got a sex change.
Yeah, they got a species change.
You're already making a big switch. You might as well make another switch.
Yeah, I guess so. So
Though I suppose some male goats would still be necessary if you wanted to maintain it as a a goat dairy farm.
Yeah, true.
But,
I mean, I guess those the guys got it lucky then, because their entire job was just
but yeah. Now, do we have anything more on the life and crimes of Scrooge McDuck?
No, other than he's old.
Which also doesn't make a lot. Okay, I was thinking about this the other night, and like his relationship with is how far back up the tree is Scrooge from Donald to Della? Because if he's actually their uncle, they would be really old.
No, he's their great uncle.
Great uncle, yeah. I was just saying, how far up the tree would he have to be?
Yeah, but I mean, just like saying, "Oh, that's my great grandfather," even though it's technically great, 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 great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, just how far back up the tree is what I was saying. Like,
and so he had a sister, which is still alive, weirdly enough, even though she didn't have the same anti-aging, because I don't think she doesn't live in the castle where his parents do.
Yeah, which would have explained everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, if she had lived there, then it's okay. That's sort of living in a state of temporal grace. But
Yeah. So even if she was somehow imbued by immortality due to having lived there, and she then had Della and Donald's great great grandparents or whatever, wouldn't technically they not just be Scrooge's parents, but they would still be the triplets' great 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 whatever grandparents,
yeah,
unless it was a thing of his parents who had Della's great 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 grandparent.
yeah, the timelines don't quite line up without throwing in some greats and some branches in the tree. But yeah, it's
We just have to ask Webby because she knows all.
yeah. She probably has the. She actually is one of the only ones with a full duck family tree and could actually tell you what the family tree actually looks like.
I mean, she technically does, because in the earlier episodes, we'd have to look back. She did have their entire life story in, I think, Woohoo, the first episode. She had the entire life story there. And but then they got all screwy with the timeline after that, so I don't know exactly. Maybe it was wibbly wobbly timey wimey. I mean, we know that's what happens with the Doctor.
Yes. Anyway, that out of the way. If we don't have anything more, we'll go to the other.
Woo.
All right.